Speaks. I am your host, Kaleem Shabazz. I am also honored to be the president of the Atlantic City branch of NAACP, who is the sponsor going into the 6th year for this program of the NAACP. If you want to know what the NAACP is doing, our programs, our priorities, our goals, this is the place for you, and we welcome you to the program. We're heard here every Tuesday from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m., 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. on WEHA 88.7 and 100.3 FM. And as we do every week, we give a shout out to Brother Hawks, William Hawks, who is the president, the founder, and the CEO of WEHA, and also to First Lady Elaine Hawks, who is his good support and really the person who gets things done here. To our regular listeners, we say welcome and thank you for your continued support and your continued listenership. We appreciate you, we acknowledge you, and we thank you. If you are a new listener, we say welcome. Please continue to join us every Tuesday, as we said, from 4:30 to 5:30 on WEHA, and we appreciate your support. Tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell your neighbors that the NAACP is alive and well and making progress, moving forward, and you can hear all of that every Tuesday, 4:30 to 5:30 here. We thank our delegates. The NAACP convention is just finishing up, and we had two very outstanding delegates representing Atlantic City. One is Reverend Dr. Stafford Miller, who is the retired pastor of Asbury United Methodist Church in the city of Atlantic City, also the NAACP Atlantic City branch chaplain, and also the NAACP political action co-chair. And we thank him for going out there representing Atlantic City, and also our good member, Joyce Molyneux, who is representing Atlantic City in our delegates, in addition to a very sizable delegation of young people in our youth council. We thank Brother Charlie Goodman and his very lovely and effective and efficient wife as our advisors to the youth council from Atlantic City, who went to Chicago to hear what the NAACP is doing in the area of youth councils. And we have hundreds of youth councils across the country, young people who are learning civil rights advocacy, working in their communities, understanding the issues of the day, and preparing to be leaders of tomorrow. And of course, the NAACP Adult Convention, thousands of civil rights fighters from across the country, every state in this country, over 2,200 units gathered in Chicago for our annual convention. And as the weeks unfold, you'll be hearing some of the resolutions that were adopted, some of the programs that we are instituting across the country on the state level and, of course, on the local level. I can tell you this, that the Atlantic City NAACP is committed to a vigorous, all-out effort to increase the level of voting in this November election, which is coming in less than 100 days, when we go to the polls to elect people from the office of Congress down to local offices. The general election is November the 2nd. November the 3rd, excuse me. The general election is Tuesday, November the 3rd. And, of course, polls are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. What's going to happen on this program in the near future, God willing, we're going to have the Commissioner of Registrations to talk about the procedures and the processes in place to make sure that we have safe and secure and fair elections in Atlantic County. If you have been aware of the news lately, our president, unfortunately, carries out and continues to spread mistruths, distortions, and outright lies about the 2020 election, which he lost, which over 60 courts have decreed that he lost based on evidence presented in court by his side and, of course, the defense, and by every credible, independent, rational observer of the 2020 election. have agreed that the president lost. One of our sages in the barbershop, those of you who are familiar in the barbershop in communities of color know that barbershops are not only places where men get haircuts, they're also places where politics, government, entertainment, sports, and everything else, relationships are discussed with whoever the customers are, the barbers, of course, and some of the barbershop philosophers who know everything about everything. And if you think they don't, just ask them and they will tell you. But one of the barbershop philosophers said to me, President Shabazz, how is it that President Trump says that he lost the election, he won the election, that everyone says he lost, but other people on the ballot that won, he doesn't say that election should be contested. And there are other people across the country who were Republicans, either senators or congressmen or state legislatures or even local legislatures who won the elections. So how does he contend on one hand that his national election was lost, but other elections that was held in every state during that year are all right? That's a question that only President Trump can answer. But the Atlantic City branch of NAACP is committed to making sure that those of you who are in the listening audience have the information that you need to cast your ballot on November 3rd, and also to make sure that when early voting comes, which is going to be October the 24th to November 1st is early voting in New Jersey. We want you to be ready for that. And also to let you know, if you're one of the people who are not registered to vote, that October 13th is the voter registration deadline, and we will be talking about that. That's on our website, and you need to be aware of that date if you are not registered to vote, or if you know someone that's not registered to vote. And September 19th is another date that we're going to be underlining, lifting up, emphasizing. September 19th is the day that the mail-in ballots will go out for the general election. In other words, if you have been voting by mail, as I have since the pandemic, your ballots will be received after September 19th, hopefully in a very quick way, in a very efficient way, because that's when they're going to be mailed out. Also, circle this date, and you're going to be hearing this date for many times going forward on this show. September 24th, 2026, that's a Thursday, and that day will be the Atlantic City Branch NAACP Candidates Night. Our Candidates Night is going to, the door's going to open at 5:30. The program's going to start promptly at 6 p.m. It's going to be held in Atlantic City at Asbury United Methodist Church, 1213 Pacific Avenue in Atlantic City. Asbury United Methodist Church, 1213 Pacific Avenue in Atlantic City. And that is going to be our Candidates Night. As you know, maybe you don't know, but the Candidates Night is something that the Atlantic City branch of NAACP does twice a year. We do it in the spring before the primary election, then we do it again in the fall before the general election. All of the Republican and Democratic candidates who are certified and will be on the ballot are invited. We expect them all to attend. They do not get the questions in advance. The protocol and procedure that we've established over the years is that our political action committee develops the program, develops the questions, and they are asked of the candidates that day of the program. And again, September 24th is our Candidates Night. Asbury United Methodist Church, doors open at 5:30. Program starts at 6 p.m. It's not a debate, it's a Candidates Night where we ask the candidates to respond to the questions from the Political Action Committee of the Atlantic City branch of the NAACP. And also a big shout out again to William Hawks, because WEHA for several years has carried the Candidates Night live. And if you for some reason want to tune in, can't make it, we ask you to tune in that night. It will be live from Asbury United Methodist Church. And while we're talking about that, let me say a big thank you to Reverend Anson Wilson. Reverend Wilson is the pastor of Asbury United Methodist Church. This is the third year in a row he's opened up the church for us, and we thank him so much, Reverend Wilson and his officers and members of Asbury United Methodist Church, which are big supporters of the NAACP. We can't thank them enough. I meant to also welcome our Facebook audience. Brother Hawks reminds me every week, Kristen, to talk about the Facebook audience and to recognize the Facebook audience. So those of you who are listening and watching on Facebook, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. And our special guest has arrived along with his helper. Kristen Ragland, as many of you know, is not only the VP in the Atlantic Care for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. He is our health co-chair, doing an excellent job bringing us rafts of information. In fact, I feel smart around Kristen around health issues because he is adept at not only at having the information but putting it at a level that lay people can understand it. Health is such an important issue today, especially as we get ready to go into a new year where there's going to be significant changes and cuts in health programs that affect people of color. So he's here today to talk about some of that and some of the things that he's doing. Kristen, welcome to the microphone.
Well, always a pleasure to be here, so thank you for the opportunity. I'm bringing I brought my sidekick, young Matthew, with me today. Tomorrow is his 7th birthday.
7?
7.
I thought he's about 15 years old.
Man, he feels like it. Yeah. But grateful to be here. And as you mentioned, health is such an important topic, but it's not just a topic, it's a daily conversation that we must have to have all the time. So grateful to be here, sir.
Okay, let me jump right in. I'm not even going to ask you 3 questions because people know you.
I think they know me. I don't got no more facts to give out.
They know you, but let me say this. To people who are concerned about some of the things that have happened in Washington, can you give us, from your point of view, how do you think that's going to impact us here on a local level?
Well, one, I think it should galvanize people, right? I think usually when bills used to pass, and policies would pass, we would leave it to 1 or 2 people in our communities to articulate those bills because there was such a I would say that there was such a desire to just say, hey, we have ambassadors, liaisons who can tell us what's going on. But I think this should galvanize everyone to know policies and bills for yourself. I look at it this way. When I've been in HR for a long time, I worked in HR a long time, the funniest thing to me is people know what policies they need to know if they need to get more PTO, if they need to figure out what payment plans they need, but then they may not know the other policies that impact them just as much, and they rely on other people to navigate that for them. But this is a time where what's happening in D.C. should galvanize us individually and as a group to learn those policies for ourselves. So that's one. Okay. Second is we have to make sure that we are not relying solely on the things that the government is either taking away or giving. This is where we have to have community partnerships. A perfect example of this. Okay. Actually about this time of the year, every summer, there's 14,000 book bag giveaways in a 2-mile radius.
You sound like my wife. She said the same thing. Go ahead.
And I look at that, I said, all of those resources to buy the same book bag going to the same kid 5 times in a week has to be looked at differently. We have to say, well, let's give out book bags in this part, and let's see who needs hygiene products in this part, and let's see who may need clothes in this part. And I think we have to do a better job of understanding that we as a community are our biggest resource. So we don't need to depend on everyone else, just like the community of kids don't have to depend on the school to provide them a book bag, even though that's where they go to get educated. There are community members who say, hey, we're going to pull our resources and give them a book bag. But I think what I've noticed over the years is, just using that as an analogy, is that we pull our resources for the same resource and we don't spread it out and we don't expand our resources. So I think moving forward, if I put that into a healthcare standpoint, I think what we have to do is understand who our players are in the community as it pertains to health, who are our doctors, who are our dietitians, who are our health and wellness people, and begin to almost knight them as liaisons and clinical components to help our community thrive despite a government that may support or not support. So I think it's just a matter of self-education. Now, there are a couple things I want to talk about today that tie into that, but I think it goes back to, one, educating ourselves, two, identifying that it's not going to be a season where we rely on one person to give us the information. We all have to be researching these things and reading the fine print. And then three, realizing what are the key things that are impacting our community the most, and begin to build secondary interventions outside of the health system to do it.
That's a very comprehensive answer, but I think you're right. And I like the analogy of the book bags, because that does happen. There's several events, and everybody means well. And
means well. They don't mean no harm.
So that's one thing, maybe, and I don't know how we implement that. Maybe we bring everybody together. Maybe we take a survey. I don't know, because today is July 21st, and as you know, next month is August. But I was in the store. Me and my wife, we was in the store. I can't even think of the store, but they were putting out school supplies.
Yeah.
And talking about and I was watching something on TV, and they started having commercials about back to school
already.
Yeah.
Well, I think my point really goes back to the amount of money that we spend. So let's look at it this way. Let's say 20 organizations says we're going to do a book bag giveaway. Right. And those 20 organizations, just collectively, we're just going to say they spend $1,000 each to buy book bags. But there's only so many kids who need a book bag. Right. So usually what I see happening is those same kids will go to different organizations and get a book bag. So now they got I know, because it happened to me. My kids got 4 or 5 book bags every summer because someone's giving away. I always think about, what do we do? How do we have the conversation about really rationing our resources to the needs, the urgent needs, so that we are not duplicating services? And I think in healthcare, that's what's happening, is that our community is not really having the conversations to make sure that there's, one, no duplication of services, but two, how do we use our resources for certain things? If diabetes strips and all those different things cost a certain amount of money, and we have a senior building that needs that, we need to have a plan on how do we make sure that those seniors don't miss out on strips for their diabetes medicine or insulin. If we have people who need high blood pressure medicine, we need to have money in places where we can say, how do we discount these things, and how do we work with different pharmacies to make sure that they have it? Because it's just, to me, it's all about really rationing our resources, as our ancestors did during slavery, during the civil rights movement, during boycotts. They rationed. They said we're going to be strategic and intentional.
And they had less resources.
And they had less resources with less insight. So when someone says, well, how do we prepare against maybe a government that's taking things away, the question is, what are we doing to prepare with our resources that we currently have, so that we are not relying on a government in the first place?
For those who just tuned in, you are listening to Kristen Ragland, who is the health co-chair for the Atlantic City branch of NAACP, and also the vice president for equity, diversion, and inclusion in Atlantic Care. Kristen, let me ask you this. And again, one of my constituents, I was coming over here, and he asked me who was going to be on the program. I said, well, Kristen Ragland, the first part, and the second part is going to be Alex Casilia talking about ice raids. But this person said, and I won't even reveal the agenda, because they're probably listening. I don't want to show them out, but I want to get the question out. This person said, looking at the health condition of Atlantic City, because we just talked about the meeting that you set up, and I've referenced that frequently, when
life expectancy
was 12 years less in Atlantic City than Galloway, which is only 12 miles from Atlantic City. And I'll say I was shocked. I'm not normally shocked, and I'm not shocked by many things. I was very, very surprised by that statistic. This constituent said, ask Mr. Ragland, first of all, does that condition still exist? Secondly, if it does, how should we be working against it? And then thirdly, what is his outlook on us being successful in reducing that disparity?
So I'll work that question backwards. Okay. So the outlook is what we're doing now, screenings, right? Life expectancy is tied to you knowing that you have issues, knowing that you need to be screened at age 40 and age 45 and age 50 for certain things. I was in Camden. I was at Rutgers Camden 2 months ago at a health equity conference. Now, we talk about Atlantic City. Mm-hmm. Camden, which is literally a stone's throw away from Cherry Hill,
absolutely,
has a bigger gap in life expectancy.
Bigger than 12 years?
Bigger than 12 years, if not the same, maybe just a little bit more. They're only a stone throw away. Now, what I was impressed by was at this health equity conference, there were community members at this conference. So these were people who live in Camden who were invited. They can tell you why the life expectancies changed. They know what store went away.
Right.
They know what work employers went away based on people having the ability to live and work in the community. They know what mental health issues they have. And so now I will say Camden's done a great job rounding off with diabetes and hypertension. Okay. So the four, excluding the third, which was the manslaughter, the car accidents, all that stuff, the four things can be prevented with diet, nutrition, having conversations with your provider. But now I'm not going to be naive, because now you have the word social determinant of health, which says, hey, there are people who want to be healthy, but what are the barriers keeping them from being healthy? Do they have access to transportation to get to a doctor? Do they have insurance to go to a doctor? Do they have enough money to go to a grocery store? Do they have a grocery store that has produce? Right? So all of these things, do they have mental things that they're dealing with, right? So all of these things make up the total person, right, including the health. And so we have to have conversations with our community about, one, what is the need? What is the barrier, so that people like you and I can work hard every day to remove those barriers? And then what was the first part of that question?
First part, what do you consider the things that we can do? And I'm assuming that the person, my constituent, asked, is not only talking about leadership, but talking about people who not only can do to work against the disparity. So,
and we have to change the culture of our eating, right? We have to change the culture of our being. And we also can, I was thinking about this driving over. I think a lot of our mental health issues has everything to do with the social media that we look at.
Because what media?
Social media.
Okay.
I don't know if you've been on there, Councilman, but there's so many stupid debates about the stupidest topics pertaining to our community, and we have a lot of people arguing with people back and forth, and I don't think people realize that is a stressor.
Right.
I think we have to do a better job of picking our spots. Like a good basketball shooter knows how to pick their shot. We got to know when to spend our energy on certain things. And so going back to that question of what can we do, I think we have to, one, know where we need to extol our energy, one, on important topics. Two, we have to lead by example. But three, we have to be each other's advocate. If so-and-so doesn't have access to fresh produce, there are so many food banks, so many produce things. Mobile markets, even Atlantic has a mobile market that goes to different places. We have to get the word out about the things that we can provide. I want to kind of go back to the life expectancy piece real quick, because so there was two things I wanted to come in and talk about that ties nicely into that. So if you're listening, if you're someone that has hypertension, diabetes, or you may smoke cigarettes, I don't know if you ever heard this term before, but it's called peripheral artery disease. This is when...
What is that again?
Peripheral artery disease.
PAD.
PAD.
Okay.
All right. I didn't realize that our community was not being screened for this as much at a national level as we should be.
Right.
Peripheral artery disease is when your vascular parts of your body begin to become constricted, and there's no real good blood flow. Okay. So we have a lot of people, particularly in our community, walking around with PAD. They may say things like, if you hear them say things like, my legs hurt every time I walk, it feels like my legs are burning.
I hear people say that,
That could be a symptom of PAD.
Okay.
What happens next, if you don't treat it, is amputation.
Man.
And people think amputation, I've heard this my whole life, where amputations become so normalized in our communities. Oh, I got that sugar.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have to get my toe amputated, or I'm going to have to get my leg amputated. Right. That's a traumatic thing to do to your body. That's not really something you want.
Right.
So one of the things that I'm pushing on and getting hopefully some grant dollars to do is do PAD screenings for individuals. And how you get a PAD screening is what they do is they compare your blood pressure on your arm to your leg. Okay. And that's when they can tell if there's a difference in that blood pressure, then there may be something going off. But I'll hear people say all the time, my legs hurt, I can't walk but only a certain amount of times. That can be a symptom of peripheral artery disease, which you don't want what happens next to happen to you, which is either a very serious complication or an amputation that you weren't expecting, or death.
Chris and I just had that conversation with several people. As you know, a couple of weeks ago, we had the Attorney General in the city of Langston with a community walk.
You guys did a community walk.
We did a community walk. And people told me, they said, my councilman's had, they said, Councilman, I want to walk, but I can't walk that far. They said they're the same exact thing. They said, I walk, and again, I'm not going to call names. They said, I walk a couple of blocks and I stop. I sit down. I can't walk. And
a lot of people think it's because they're not in shape.
Right.
And so you, in your brain, you'll think, oh, I'm just not in shape. That's a different thing than PAD.
And some of them weren't that old either.
No. Listen, Mississippi, there's a doctor, I want to make sure I get his name right because this is a good brother. There's a doctor in Mississippi. His name is Dr. Filoso Fakarede. Okay. He slashed amputations by 88% in Mississippi, all because he started screening the community. Because people were getting to him too late. Okay. They were coming when they would say things like, I can't walk anymore. And by the time they got to him, maybe it was too late and amputations was needed. Okay. What he found was, oh, we got to screen people a lot sooner. When you hear someone say, hey, I can't walk that much, or I have burning sensations in my legs, or things like that, or they may have diabetes, or they may be risk to hypertension, we have to screen for everything. If you say you have diabetes or you're at risk or pre-diabetic, don't let the doctor just give you medication. Ask them to screen you for a couple other things, kidney disease, all these different things, because typically one leads to the other. Your body, it's interesting how I was getting some teeth work done, and I thought I had to get my wisdom teeth out. So I went to the dentist, and I'm telling the dentist, I'm in a lot of pain. You just need to take my wisdom tooth out. And she said, no, that's coming from another tooth that has a nerve ending that's connected to your wisdom tooth. So I have to get rid of that tooth. Well, I have to get that tooth fixed because it's impacting the rest of my teeth, right? And so just like your body, you have to look at everything and see how it impacts everything else. So PAD screenings, that's one. Okay. So if you have a primary care doctor and you feel those things, go see them ASAP and say, I need to get a PAD screening. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was, genetic testing.
Genetic testing, okay.
So to your constituent who was asking, what can we do to get that life expectancy up? We have to start having conversations about our genetics. Now, let me be up front and say I'm not naive, and I understand that genetics is something that particularly in our community we don't talk much about because genetics 60, 70 years ago was the Tuskegee experiment. Exactly. That was genetics. Or the slaves that were taken in for a scientific experiment. Right. But I'm telling you, we have grown significantly in our genetics testing, particularly with cancer, particularly with some other testings. Have these conversations with your primary care doctor about getting a genetic test, because you could possibly foresee things that you can avoid in 10 years' time versus you finding out at the last minute. We have to have these conversations in our community. And genetics can just simply be, hey, what did your mom have? What did your dad have? Did your dad die of a heart attack? Did your mom die of hypertension? All of these things, we have to have these conversations. We joke about this all the time, and it's funny, but it's really not. How many times do you hear that at funerals, the same food that took out the loved one that was in the casket is the same one we serve at the repast?
That's right. That's right.
Right? So I even saw, going back to a funny debate on social media, I saw someone say, what's better, baby shower food or funeral food? We got other things we could talk about as it pertains to our diet and supporting our genetics and all of that good stuff. So, again, genetics.
That's important what you said just about diet, because I remember at one of our meetings, NACP meetings, and again, let me get a quick commercial. Monday, the second Monday in the month, come to our NACP meeting, 6 o'clock at Atlantic Cape Community College, room 204. But you said at one of the meetings, and I was guilty.
And you jumped on it, though.
Yeah,
you fixed it.
Yeah, fried chicken. and you said, Councilman, we shouldn't be serving people fried chicken. I was guilty. I admit it. And people like fried chicken.
Yeah.
But
comfort food.
comfort food, we should not have fried foods like that. And since then, and that was a while ago when you said that, we have not had fried chicken. We had chicken. We had baked chicken.
Yeah, baked chicken, which is a healthier option. And everything in moderation, right? Everything in moderation. But our community, we need to begin to have these conversations around our diet, around with the things we're putting in our body, the processed foods that we're eating. Colon cancer is on the rise in people under 45. That was never the case. I believe, this is not my scientific opinion, I believe it has everything to do with my generation, the millennials, and those who are being diagnosed as early as they are, with processed foods.
Absolutely.
I think that's something we have to talk about as well. So to go back to that constituent's question of what do we have to do, I think one, diet. Culture of having the conversations around genetics. Outlook is we can change it as long as we're getting people to get screened for these things, and not just screened for the sake of being screened, but actually make a change. And so in education, and I'll do a bonus. The other thing is representation in healthcare. We need more people that look like the communities that we serve in these clinical roles. You don't have to be a doctor. You can be a nurse. You could be a therapist. You could be a tech. You can be an attorney. You can be all of these things, but you need to be in healthcare so that you're actively representing the community and having those conversations and going to bat for them.
If you just tuned in, our special guest for this portion of the UNACP Speaks is Kristen Ragland, Vice President for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion in Atlantic Care, and as far as NACP is concerned, our very adequate health chair. And he's talking about all things health. PAD screens, I heard that on a commercial on the TV. So if a person smokes cigarettes, and it's funny to see people smoking today, because you used to see that during my time, and I'm older than you. A lot of people smoke. That was a sign of sophistication in the movies and all that. But today it's rare. Well, you don't see smoking in the movies at all anymore.
No.
But I see something that is starting to bother me. I'm starting to see mostly young men smoking. But here's my question. I'm rambling a little bit. Here's my question. What do you say about this vaping that people are doing, and how should we respond to that?
Well, so Dr. Bora, who's one of our pulmonary specialists, we did a what do we call it? I would say like a smoking cessation seminar in a senior building in Atlantic City a couple of months ago. And this is how he kind of rated it. Cigarettes is probably the worst for your lungs, because what happens is, what people don't know why so people always just say, oh, smoking is bad for you. Let me tell you why. What happens is the heat expands your lungs, or it can contract it and causing you to have breathing issues and things like that. Can I tell you an interesting fact real quick about smoking? So I met a woman who was in her late 70s at that same senior high-rise building. She's from the South.
You said it was in Atlantic City?
Atlantic City. She lived in the South, grew up in the South. Grew up on a tobacco farm. In the city that she lived in, where the tobacco farms were, you were considered a good citizen if you bought the tobacco. Makes sense economically, right? Like if you're living in a place that produces something, you should support it. Now, no one knew about tobacco and how harmful it is today. They just wanted to be a good citizen. Okay, she moves up here, continues those habits. We are talking to her about, hey, you may need to, we got to talk to you about, not smoking. You're showing signs of different things. This woman was so emotional, she could not stop smoking. I thought she was talking about a man when she was like talking about her cigarettes. She was like, when company comes over, I got to kick them out so I can have my time. I'm thinking maybe she's talking about a relationship. She's talking about cigarettes. She was just having an issue with getting rid of them. And I thought about this. Some people who are smoking cigarettes are not smoking it because they're trying to be cool or because they're addicted, right? And 60 years ago, to her, that was the right thing to do. So some people have bad habits, health habits, not because they're maliciously doing it. We just learn more now, right? When you know better, you do better. So anyway, so the heat from the cigarettes, from what I understand, makes your lungs expand. That's what causes problem. Vaping is next on that. Vaping is extremely, because it's all, you're doing damage to those lungs. Now, interesting enough, I know we're on a gospel radio show, but the question just came up, or the question came up in there. Marijuana they don't really have a lot of data yet on marijuana. But the same rule applies in the sense of if you're heating up something.
Marijuana just like smoking a cigarette.
Smoke cigarette. But, somebody had asked, well, what if I take a cold one? And I was just like, okay. It was like, what do I do, gummies and things like that. Right. So there's a lot of things still going out with marijuana, right. But anything that heats up your lungs is bad for you. Okay. So smoking is the number one modifiable thing you can do with PAD, because you can stop smoking, because smoking can lead to you being at risk for peripheral artery disease, on top of obesity, on top of your age and all these other risk factors. But believe it or not, a lot of it is modifiable by diet, by habits, by making sure you're having the conversation. And it really comes down to, do you want to live, right? You know, there are people who you go and have a conversation with and say, hey, I want you to stop smoking. You know, you're getting of age. They'll say to you, I'm good. If this is the way I go out, they don't care. Yeah. So it's all about making sure you understand those different risk logics and models.
Okay. We come to the final segment with Kristen Ragland, our health education. This is health education. Our health chairman in the Atlantic City branch of NAACP Health Committee, and also the vice president for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion at Atlantic Care. And I know that people have gotten some information that they can use from you today, Kristen, with regard to smoking, diet, culture, health, and I'm going to reach out to you offline. I'd like to do a couple smoking sessions in my district, because I have a couple of senior districts, senior buildings, and not just seniors, but seniors especially, because they have been exposed to that smoking culture longer, and some of them, unfortunately, are still doing that. I saw a person, and I really couldn't believe it. This person had an oxygen tank. A portable oxygen tank, and they were smoking.
Yeah, that scares me.
I mean, I couldn't believe it. And the only reason, well, it's a couple reasons I didn't say anything, but I didn't really know the person. I just happened to see him, and I saw that, and I said, that sort of disturbed me. Yeah. You know, like I said, I didn't know him, the person personally, but it just said to me, if you have to have an oxygen tank, you shouldn't be smoking.
Well, you know, and I want to make sure we're not judging or condemning anyone, because like you said, some people just don't know any better, right? I have great grace and compassion for people who are just finding out that what they were doing for 50 years is actually not good. Think about, we used to have a time where you could ride in a car with no seatbelt on.
Exactly.
You know? Exactly. I had to, before the Attorney General comes back on here, one of the things that I struggled with early in my driving was the no cell phone, right? Because in my mind, that wasn't a law. You know, driving while having a cell phone in your hand wasn't a law until they started having accidents. But in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm good. I'm a great driver. That's them. Yeah. But I understand now, like, that dangers of that, right? So things change. And so I think that's the last point I want to say. We have to extend grace to our community. Absolutely. We have to be the first people to extend grace to our community, even when we have a community that doesn't seem to feel supported by a government, or let me not say supported, may not feel that the government understands the blight and the historical markers of our community that led us to the place of disposition that we are today. Right. But it's still our responsibility to not cry victim, but to say, what do we need to do as a community? Just like you mentioned earlier, our community of ancestors did more with less.
With much less.
With all the insight and I think about it all the time. I look at TikTok and all the funny people we have on TikTok and all the great people in our community doing great things. We have a great opportunity to pull our resources to say we're going to increase life expectancy by not being selfish, but being holistic and being altruistic as well.
Kristen, did you want to say anything? We got two Kristens in there.
Kristen's my partner in health equity. She called me, and anytime she sees something, she like, listen.
Kristen's on it. Yeah.
I actually saw a post that what you were talking about earlier as far as the book bag drives.
Yeah.
I saw a post that was from an educator saying, the book bag drives are great and everything, but there are some other things that the kids are in need of that we could really tackle. Laundry supplies, things like that.
What supplies?
Laundry supplies.
Oh, because soap and stuff like that?
Because we kind of take for granted how much the schools actually provide.
Yeah.
And so it's just you know what I mean? There's if we started to kind of look at from a different aspect. And when I saw that post, I was like, that makes so much sense, because every organization wants to do a book bag drive, and it's cool. And how many times? And we've actually, they mean well, but how many times? Like, I'll say from my church standpoint, we've done a book bag drive and then left with all the book bags because the kids are like, well, first off, my mom bought me a JanSport, and it, you know.
And now kids want Jordan book bags, Nike. These, we got kids that are vain.
You got Jordan book bags?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
My son, all right. What kind of book bag you said you wanted for school? You already told me. No, I don't. Actually, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, but he wanted a Mario book bag, right? So.
Oh, okay. Those different characters.
Yeah, different characters. So if I came home with a book bag that he didn't like, he wouldn't be wearing it.
Right, and not only that, but the school supply list changes from grade to grade. So,
but the key part to that is the amount of money you spend on the book bags and where we can reutilize that money, right? And reallocate. And that's where I think community as a collective comes in of, let's, like you said, one church or one organization focuses on laundry detergent and all that. One focuses on maybe
hygiene
T-shirts
products,
and things. That's what we need to do instead of doing the same thing and duplicating services.
I'm sorry. I always think about, there's a poem that's like, it starts with, I didn't have a pencil.
Right.
So the teacher asks the student, you know what I mean? Why don't you have a pencil? And then it goes down the gambit of things that some of our children are dealing with as to why they don't have the basic necessities. So let's also think from that aspect. Okay, maybe our kids have pencils. They have access to pencils. What are the other things that they could be dealing with at home that we can,
I just thought of something. Should we say, for 2026, which we're already in, fast approaching the fall, don't have a book bag drive, but instead do X or Y? And if we do that, how do we get the word out? And I don't want to say get people to comply, but get people to consider.
Yeah.
Because I believe, maybe I'm naive, I don't think I am, I believe that all these organizations, churches, civic, social, cultural, that do these things, have the right intent.
Absolutely.
I absolutely believe that. And I believe if we could convince them that there's a better way to meet the need, that they would do it.
And it all takes communication. And I think the starting point are the schools, right? The schools are the ones that have to, navigate that. And I'm not going to mention the
school doesn't come back to September. So
yeah, and I think maybe that's something we have to create, right? Maybe that's something we have to start having conversations about in April of saying what is the need. And then I think also those organizations, this where humility and ego has to come in. Like you may not get the Facebook post where you said we gave out 50 book bags, but the satisfaction of you helped the collective goal.
Well, like Kristen said, maybe. Organization X, I'm not going to name the organization, I don't want to get in trouble, does laundry.
Yeah.
And maybe organization Y does feminine projects.
Yep.
Products. And organization Z does socks. Just say, for example. And people just, I don't want to say stay in the lane, but people sort of target the need.
Yeah.
Because I heard the same thing I'm telling you. My wife and I had the same conversation. She said, Colleen, because I was going to, this was last summer, but same condition. I was going to a book bag giveaway. I took a check, which I'm supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But she said, well, don't some of these kids get 3 and 4 book bags? And since you're in the area, people go to the same thing and get a book bag.
Listen, as someone who does a lot of grants,
right,
I know what the money that's being given out. My concern is if there's money being given out and they do an audit and say, well, what did you spend the money on?
Right.
And then they see that in a 2-mile radius, we gave money to 5 organizations and they did the exact same thing. This is how money leaves communities, because you have to own up to what did you spend the money on. Now, I want to make this very clear. If you got a book bag giveaway scheduled this year, keep going. We applaud you. But I guess the challenge that the challenge I'm putting down is let's figure out how we can navigate even more opportunities and things like that. I know I got to go. I can talk about this all day.
But you know what? It's important. So maybe our goal for 2027 is to start in maybe January, February 2027, getting ready for the summer of 2027 so that we can channel our resources to hit more areas.
Yeah. And we can be able to line item, hey, we spent this amount of money here and there. So, all right, well, listen, team, I got my son Nancy. He feels his birthday coming.
Okay, happy birthday, young man.
He said, thank you.
I learned something about Mario book bags. I didn't know that. Jordan book bags.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was happy with whatever book bag they gave me.
Listen, we was carrying our stuff in paper bags. Thank you, Kristen Ragland. We just heard from now. We're going to hear from Alice Carcelia.
She is not on yet.
She's not on yet?
But
okay.
We got another we got a real quick guest for you.
Okay.
Have a seat, sir.
Oh, hey.
And this guest is
This is Dr. Kenny Applewhite.
the Dr. Kenny.
Oh, nobody.
Dr. Kenny Applewhite.
Yeah. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Go on, speak it to the mic, sir. Don't act like a guest now.
Yeah, you know how to do this.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, do
You've
every
been here
Sunday.
before.
Every Sunday. I just came to stop by to surprise my friend. I promised him about 3 years ago, whenever I do another Excellence Award,
Right.
that we were going to give you one for the excellent work and leadership you do in the community.
Oh, my goodness.
And for churches. And I didn't get the sponsorship because I usually do a star study,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
really,
yeah.
really
You do a big thing, yes.
But I didn't get the sponsorship.
Right, right.
So I said, I'm going to hand deliver them 50 trophies to 50 outstanding people.
Oh, my goodness.
And I want to present you with excellence and leadership
My
from my
goodness.
organization, I Kenny Music Group, for your work. You have proven yourself. You have helped so many people, and you never know who's watching you.
Yes, sir.
And I want to present you with this excellent in leadership award.
Thank you so much. I am honored. I'm surprised. Kristen, you knew about this. I am humbled and surprised, and I really, really appreciate this. I admire the work that you do, and
Thank you.
God willing, I'm going to I'm going to continue doing what I have been blessed to do, what I love doing, helping people and doing the work in our communities across the board. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I wonder, I said, what's your brother coming in here? Thank you,
I
man.
wanted to. Y'all
And
keep
Kristen, I'm going to
talking,
get
but
you
I just
afterwards
wanna-
because you knew
I
about
wanna,
this.
Videotape you with your award.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are listening, I am totally surprised. And you're watching on Facebook, my good friend and engineer and social media coordinator for NACP colluded and conspired with this brother to pull this off because y'all really surprised me.
And Bill Hawks.
Hawks was in on it too?
Yeah.
He just called me.
Oh my goodness. Hawks, I'm going to get you Friday. Hawks knew about it too?
He sure did.
We've had it planned since last week.
Y'all got me. I'm telling you.
We-
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. And I am totally, completely, and absolutely surprised. I did not know.
I
Ain't that
love
something?
surprising people. Because when we actually do the award show, there are a lot of people that come in, buy tickets, and don't know they're being honored.
Right.
And then we'll say, so we're honored and sitting here in the audience. But you know what? I like to do it for people who never get that thank you. I
Right.
appreciate. There are people that do a lot of great things in the community, but they're overlooked. I played for a church for 10 years. I got nothing. I never got thank you.
Oh, my
I never got
goodness.
to appreciate you. And I did it for free. But I got blessed. That's all I could tell you was God truly blessed me
Yes, sir.
immensely. But let me turn this around.
Thank you so
And
much.
if you could hold up your award.
I'm going
so
to put
people
this
can say,
in my
"See."
office, God willing, tomorrow in a place that people will see it when they come in my office, and I'm going to tell them a couple of things. First of all, I am honored and humbled by the award. Secondly, the trio of folk who pulled this off, I'm going to deal with. And thirdly, with all seriousness, I am I'm going to keep working and keep moving forward, especially this year. 2026 is a very, very important year.
Right.
We have a momentous election coming up. We have a person in Washington who is using the government for cruelty, for vengeance, to hurt people who shouldn't be hurt, and to take resources from people who don't have resources. And I'm going to do everything that I can to put an end to that.
Well, I appreciate you, and I've been planning this for a long time for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Because I promised you 4 years ago, I said, you're the next person
You did.
I'm going to honor. And I told Hawks, I called him, I said, Hawks, we got to honor Kaleem Shabazz for what he does in the community. He's been doing it for a long time.
Thank you.
And I remember one time, and I'm going to be quiet, you saw me in the street, you said, that man got a real PhD. And that thing encouraged me because I had worked hard. I went through to get it, but I worked hard.
Right.
But this is our 2026 Excellent in Leadership, top leadership recipient, Kaleem Shabazz.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
This is a lovely award. This is really nice.
You know what? I had to find, people were stealing my ideas.
Right.
They will steal my idea. You go to their award shows, they would do it just like me. They would steal the awards, everything. But I went overseas and found these.
This is beautiful, bro.
So I said, and people like, where'd you get it from? None of your business. Oh, I'm sorry.
Facebook people, y'all can see it. Thank you so much, man.
Okay.
Hawks, I'm going to get with you. Kristen, I'm going to get with you in a minute. Thank you, brother. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
We do have Alice Garcia.
Oh, Alice, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Alice, I was just surprised with a leadership award here, but we're going to
Congratulations.
thank you so much. We're going to go a little over. Thank you. We're going to go a little over, and I know that Hawks, since he was in on this surprise, he's going to allow us to go a little over with your interview. And again, Alice, you have been a regular guest on this program, and we thank you so much for your leadership, for your enthusiasm, and your commitment for social justice. I was just telling Kristen before we went on, I went down to the headquarters Sunday afternoon because I was taking a check because I didn't have time to really do shopping at Kristen's place, and you were there working on Sunday afternoon. So that just goes to show your dedication. But we talked offline, and you said there was an ICE raid. Tell us where the ICE raid was, what you know about it, and how we can help.
So my first question is, can she move the microphone away from the headphones? Because I can hear myself.
Oh, okay. I don't know how we do that.
Sorry.
Can you hear it now? Are you all right now?
Yeah, there's still an echo, but that's okay.
Are you on speaker?
No. This happened
What should I do?
last time, and
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. You all right now?
no, it's still echoing, but that's okay. It'll be fine. So today we experienced an ice raid in Atlantic City.
On Atlantic City?
Unfortunately, I believe 3 community members were kidnapped, and they are moving to public raids. So they're just approaching people on the street and taking them within minutes.
Did they have any papers or any kind of legal documents before they scooped these people up?
Not that I'm aware of. I think it's usually just like a short exchange. They usually ask, where are you from?
Mm-hmm.
And if the person says another country, it gives them probable cause.
Which is terrible.
Yeah, they don't have judicial warrants for these arrests.
Yeah. And they don't have anything to indicate that the people that they're scooping up has committed any crimes in this country against people. They're just scooping them up.
No, they're just profiling them.
Which is horrible. But go ahead. You said this was in Atlantic City today.
Yeah, the one that I know of, the location was Montpelier and Fairmount.
Mm.
So
they're even, in addition to profiling, ethnically profiling, obviously, they're also geographically profiling, because if my memory serves me correct, Alice, that was the same area that these ICE ICE agents accosted other people before in that same Chelsea area. Am I correct?
yes, you are. And I do believe they were on New York Avenue today as well.
Okay. Boy, oh boy.
So it's just really important that people know their rights. Mm-hmm. So you may have seen the little red cards that get given out.
Right.
It's really important that if ICE agents come to your door, you do not open the door and you do not answer any questions if they try to talk to you. You have the right to remain silent.
Remain silent.
It's important that they don't sign anything without first speaking to a lawyer. And if you're outside of your home, ask the agent if you're free to leave. And if they say yes, leave calmly.
Mm-hmm. Man.
It's also important when they ask where are you from, that they do not answer them, because that is what they're using as an excuse to take people.
I'm telling you, it's a sad day in this country when people can be swept up just because some ICE hoodlums, ICE agents, ask them where they're from, and they answer another country, and without any papers, without any legal process. So at this point, do the families of the people who were picked up, do they know where they are?
So what happens is after they're picked up, they can be looked up in a database to find out where they're detained. It usually takes a few hours for them to appear there.
What would you advise people who are in support? And I was really heartened. I don't know how much food came after I left, but I was heartened to see the amount of food Sunday afternoon that had been contributed. And I know there's more on the way. Commissioner Days, who's out of town, is processing a contribution of food, a check that's going to be used for food. What else can people do to be supportive?
So honestly, if you feel comfortable right now, joining our rapid response team is really, really important. We need more people.
Okay.
Our rapid responders help document activity and verify information. And a lot of times they'll get the name of the kidnapped and then help El Pueblo Unido connect families with resources.
Okay. How would you join the rapid response team?
So we do have an emergency meeting tonight because we really need more volunteers. And in order to come to that, you need to email volunteers at elpueblounidoac.org.
Can you repeat that again, Alice?
Yes?
I said, can you repeat that again, the email?
So we have an emergency rapid response training tonight. And to come, you can email volunteers at elpueblounidoac.org.
Okay.
And they will get back to you with a location.
Okay. Boy. Well, Alice, thank you so much for checking in. Alice Carcelia of Indivisible, who has been a active activist, if that's proper English, in this fight, raising awareness, pulling resources together, and helping people to resist the extra legal activities of ICE. And I just hope, as we come to this very critical election, that people see that what was sold as a remedy for our immigration quagmire is not really a remedy. It's just an excuse for people to do things outside the bounds of law and decorum and proper conduct. So we'll see. And again, the NAACP does not endorse candidates, but we do encourage people to be involved civically, to understand the issues, and to vote for candidates who will, first of all, support the law. Secondly, as the Pope has said, show respect and dignity for people. And thirdly, make sure that our democracy is maintained. September 24th, again, is our candidates night. You will see the candidates who are running in Atlantic County for elective office. And we hope that at this candidates night, you will make the decision that best fits with your values and what you think is important. Again, Asbury United Methodist Church, 1213 Pacific Avenue in Atlantic City, Thursday, September 24th. Doors open at 5:30. Program starts promptly 6. Alice, anything else that you wanted to report?
No, I think that's the most pressing issue right now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Alice Casilia. Kristen, last words, comments?
It's Alice. I know it should be Christian, but he's very busy today.
Oh, no, I said I was talking to Kristen here.
Oh.
Kristen in the studio. That's another Kristen. Okay. But thank you, Alice.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Okay.
Have a good one. I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I just think, make sure we're educating ourselves about voting, and also, like Alice said, there is an emergency meeting. It's necessary, and they are in need of volunteers. So that's it.
Okay. So
and congratulations.
Thank you. We also want to thank Alice for calling in. Alice is always available to give us information, updates, and share her enthusiasm. Thank Kristen Ragland for his very, very informative comments on health, diet, pad, smoking, all the things that we need to do to live a healthy life, and we will be having him come back again to talk about those things. Again, before we close, September 24th, we want to have standing room only at the Candidates Night in Atlantic City, Thursday, September 24th at Asbury United Methodist Church. Doors open at 5:30. Program starts promptly at 6. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we always win. God bless you, and see you next